In the early 90s, in a remote village in Japan, there was a legend about a haunted house known as the Himuro Mansion. The mansion was said to be cursed by a dark ritual that had taken place there many years ago. The story was based on real-life events, and the mansion's gruesome history was well known throughout the region. According to the legend, the Himuro family had lived in the mansion for generations. They were practitioners of an ancient and dark ritual known as the Strangling Ritual. The purpose of the ritual was to seal off evil spirits and protect the village from harm. Every 50 years, a maiden from the Himuro family was chosen to be the Rope Shrine Maiden. She would be isolated from the world and raised in complete purity to ensure the success of the ritual. When the time came for the ritual, the maiden would be bound with ropes, which were then tightened until her limbs were severed from her body. The ropes, now soaked in her blood, would be used to create a barrier around the village, keeping the evil spirits at bay. One fateful year, the chosen maiden fell in love with a young man from the village. This love tainted her purity, and when the time came for the ritual, it failed. The head of the Himuro family, in a fit of rage and desperation, brutally murdered the entire family to prevent the evil spirits from entering the world. From that day on, the Himuro mansion was said to be cursed. The spirits of the murdered family members and the vengeful spirits that had been unleashed haunted the mansion, and anyone who dared to enter the house would meet a gruesome end. Over the years, many people went missing after venturing into the mansion, and their bodies were later found mutilated and dismembered. The village was plagued by a series of unexplained deaths and misfortunes, and the legend of the Himuro mansion grew darker with each passing year. In the 60s, a journalist named Takashi ventured to the village to investigate the legend of the Himuro mansion. He was determined to uncover the truth behind the gruesome stories and put an end to the fear that gripped the village. Takashi entered the mansion, armed with only a camera and a flashlight. As he explored the dark, decaying halls, he encountered the restless spirits of the Himuro family. They tormented him with visions of their brutal deaths and the failed ritual that had cursed the mansion. Despite the horrors he faced, Takashi pressed on, determined to find a way to break the curse. He discovered the remains of the Rope Shrine Maiden, still bound by the blood-soaked ropes that had failed to protect the village. In a final act of desperation, Takashi severed the ropes and released the maiden's spirit. The spirits of the Himuro family, now freed from their torment, were able to find peace and move on to the afterlife. The curse of the Himuro mansion was finally broken, and the village was no longer plagued by the evil spirits that had haunted it for so long. Though the legend of the Himuro mansion is based on real-life events, the mansion itself has been lost to time, and its exact location remains a mystery. The story serves as a chilling reminder of the dark rituals and tragic events that once took place in the remote corners of Japan. Years had passed since Takashi broke the curse of the Himuro mansion, and the village had slowly begun to heal from the dark events that had haunted it for so long. The mansion itself had fallen into disrepair, and nature had begun to reclaim the once grand estate. The villagers avoided the area, fearing that the spirits of the past might still linger there. One day, a young woman named Yuki arrived in the village. She was a historian and had come to research the legend of the Himuro mansion. Yuki was fascinated by the story and believed that there was more to be uncovered about the dark rituals and the tragic fate of the Himuro family. Despite the warnings of the villagers, Yuki ventured to the ruins of the mansion. As she explored the crumbling halls and overgrown gardens, she discovered a hidden chamber beneath the mansion. Inside the chamber, she found an ancient scroll that detailed the true purpose of the strangling ritual. The scroll revealed that the ritual was not only meant to protect the village from evil spirits, but also to appease a powerful and malevolent entity known as the Shadow Demon. The demon had been sealed away by the Himuro family centuries ago, and the ritual was necessary to keep it imprisoned. Yuki realized that when Takashi had severed the ropes and released the rope shrine maiden spirit, he had unknowingly weakened the seal that held the Shadow Demon captive. Over time, the demon had grown stronger, and it was now on the verge of breaking free from its prison. Determined to prevent the demon from being unleashed upon the world, Yuki sought the help of a local priest who was well-versed in ancient rituals. Together, they devised a plan to reseal the Shadow Demon and restore the barrier that protected the village. Yuki and the priest returned to the Himuro mansion and performed a new ritual, using sacred talismans and prayers to strengthen the seal. As they chanted, the ground beneath the mansion began to tremble, and the air was filled with an oppressive darkness. The Shadow Demon, sensing that its freedom was being threatened, unleashed its fury upon Yuki and the priest. It summoned the spirits of the Himuro family, forcing them to do its bidding and attack the two intruders. Yuki and the priest fought bravely against the vengeful spirits, using their knowledge of ancient rituals to protect themselves from harm. As the battle raged on, Yuki managed to reach the chamber where the Shadow Demon was imprisoned and placed the sacred talismans upon the seal. With a final, desperate prayer, Yuki and the priest succeeded in resealing the Shadow Demon and restoring the barrier that protected the village. The spirits of the Himuro family, now freed from the demon's control, were able to find peace once more and move on to the afterlife. Yuki's actions had saved the village from the wrath of the Shadow Demon, and the legend of the Himuro mansion took on a new chapter. The villagers would never forget the sacrifices made by those who had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, and the story of the Himuro mansion would be passed down through generations as a testament to the power of courage and determination in the face of evil. Years went by, and the village continued to thrive, free from the darkness that had once plagued it. The legend of the Himuro mansion and the brave souls who had faced the Shadow Demon became a source of inspiration for the villagers. They learned to appreciate the importance of unity and the power of facing their fears together. As the village grew, so did its connection to the outside world. People from far and wide came to learn about the legend of the Himuro mansion and the lessons it held. The story became a symbol of hope and resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a way to overcome adversity. One day, a young girl named Hana visited the village with her family. She had heard the stories of the Himuro mansion and was captivated by the tales of bravery and sacrifice. Hana was inspired by the story of Yuki, the historian who had risked her life to save the village from the Shadow Demon. Hana decided that she wanted to follow in Yuki's footsteps and dedicate her life to uncovering the mysteries of the past and preserving the stories that held valuable lessons for future generations. With the support of her family and the villagers, Hana began her journey to become a historian. Throughout her life, Hana traveled the world, uncovering forgotten legends and sharing the wisdom they contained. She became a beacon of hope and inspiration, teaching others the importance of facing their fears and standing together in the face of adversity. The story of the Himuro mansion and the brave individuals who had confronted the darkness continued to resonate with people across the world. The meaningful message it carried was a testament to the power of human resilience and the importance of preserving the stories that shape our collective history. In the end, the legend of the Himuro mansion taught us that even in the darkest moments, there is always hope. By facing our fears and standing together, we can overcome any challenge and emerge stronger than before. The stories of our past hold valuable lessons, and it is our responsibility to preserve them and pass them on to future generations, so they too can learn from the courage and determination of those who came before them.